Hello everyone, it's Hannah here from Virtually Fluent. Today we are going back to the grammar basics and we are reviewing the past continuous tense. We will look at the use, the structure, the form in positive and negative too. If you would like to practice this, we do have a past continuous tense course. I've left the link in the description below. And before we get started, I must mention that you should join us on all our social media pages. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, of course, here on YouTube and many other channels. I've left all of the links in the description below. We post loads of free content, so you should definitely check it out. So the past continuous tense is a past tense. So we are talking about events that are before right now, before the present time. Now we can use this to talk about two events in the past happening at the same time. We'll look at some examples in a bit, or just one event. Now the focus here is that the event started and finished both in the past, so it's not still happening now in the present, and it's normally a longer period of time, which is why I've shown it like this on the timeline. We're going to look at 6 very specific uses of the past continuous tense, but you will notice that they all have this pattern. The event starts and finishes in the past, and it's a long kind of event. So if we really want to focus on the length of the event, we would use this tense. For example, it was raining all morning. She was crying all night. They were talking on the phone all afternoon. You notice this word all is generally used in the past continuous. If we put this on a timeline, it might look like this. The rain started in the morning at some point. The rain finished later in the morning, and all that time between those two specific slots, it was raining. Now, the second reason that we would use the past continuous is normally to talk about two events happening more or less at the same time, again, both in the past, starting and finishing in the past. Now, we have two different types. Let's take a look. For example, I was cooking whilst he was watching TV. So we have two events here and both of them are in the past continuous. I was cooking could be drawn on a timeline like this. The cooking started and finished in the past and it continued all that time in between. But we have a second event too, which is watching the television. I was cooking whilst he was watching the television. Both of these events started and finished in the past. We don't know the exact time that this happened, but we can guess and we know they were both at the same time. Alternatively, we could use the past continuous for one event and the past simple for the second event. For example, he was doing his homework when I arrived home. So this past continuous part, doing the homework, started and finished in the past. It happened for a long time in between. But that second event, arrived at home, is not a long continuous event. It's something that happens in one specific second. You open the door, you arrive. And that's it, event over. Past simple tense. So we might insert that in between this period of completing the homework, and that would look like this on a timeline. We also have what I call the before and after structure, because we talk about a time in the past, for example, 7 a.m., and we want to say an event happened more or less around that time. Remember, if it's a specific time at 7 a.m., very punctual, it's the past simple tense. But if we want to talk about a little bit before, a little bit after, then we've got this longer period of time, a stretched time, and that's when we would use the past continuous tense. For example, it was 7 p.m. and I was having dinner, a little bit before, a little bit after. At 8 a.m., I was waking up. At 5 p.m, he was finishing his work. And one of those events might look like this on a timeline, a little bit before and a little bit after. Now, the past continuous is generally used when we're setting the scene. Think about those really descriptive books that you read in English. And they want to build this scene for you. all of these verbs would be in the past continuous tense. For example, it was raining outside, the trees were blowing in the wind was howling down the chimney, and the house was shaking. All these events happening at the same time. Because we're talking about 2 points, both in the past, we can also express a change or a growth, something that has changed in between those 2 points of time. For example, they were getting tall quickly. I was thinking about buying a new house. She was going to do her homework, but she changed her mind. So we have these 2 separate events, this change, this growth, whether it's positive or negative. If we continue with this example of they were getting tall quickly, perhaps we talk about age 3 and age 4, both in the past. And the height, for example, or the weight, or even their maturity has changed between those 2 points of time. So we can express that with the past continuous. And the final tip for using the past continuous is the verb to wonder. For some reason, this is normally used in the past continuous tense. I was wondering. I was wondering if you'd like to go out with me. She was wondering if she could call you. They were wondering if you're interested in the job offer. So that's when we would use the past continuous tense. Let's quickly review the structure. So we're going to use the example verb to read, and there are going to be 3 parts in the affirmative. We start with our subject, I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Then we have the verb to be in the past, which is was or were. And the final part is the present participle. We do have another video on the present participle and also the pronunciation of the present participle that you can check out on our YouTube channel. For example, I was reading, you were reading, he, she, it was reading, we were reading, and they were reading. Now, in the negative, the part that becomes negative is that auxiliary verb, that part to be. So we just insert not after that. I was not reading. You were not reading. And of course, we can contract it as well. I wasn't reading. You weren't reading. Now, when we ask a question in English, we always flip that first verb, which is the auxiliary, here was or were, and the subject. What were you reading? Remember, we insert those question words right at the very beginning. Or we could ask a question without a question word. Were you reading? Were you watching TV? And if we want to respond to these with a nice short response, it's the auxiliary verb that we need. Were you watching TV? Yes, I was. And in the negative, no, I was not. Of course, this can be contracted to no, I wasn't. So that's everything about the past continuous tense, the use and the structure. As I said at the beginning of this video, you can practice this with all of our online activities, quizzes and games in our past continuous course. I've left the link in the description below. If you learned something from today's video, please go ahead and give us a like, share, and of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel to see lots more grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary videos to help you learn and improve your English. This is Hannah from Virtually Fluent, bringing English to life.